United Kingdom across the earth. It's Radio 2 on the BBC Sounds app on your smart speaker and on 88 to 91 FM.
BBC News at 4 o'clock. This is Justine Green. Britain is sending more military aid to Ukraine, including a counter-battery radar system, GPS jammers and night vision devices. Addressing the Ukrainian MPs via a video link, Boris Johnson said the UK would deliver a further £300 million worth of assistance to help them fight against Russia. A former Ukrainian national security advisor, Alexander Danilyuk, says the equipment will be put to good use.
We need more artillery, multiple rocket launch systems, counter-artillery systems. Actually, what we were announced that we'll get today from Great Britain and from the United States as well. We're getting the NATO standard equipment, artillery, which will be able to change the tide in this war, provided we'll get enough of it.
The UK is to also donate to Ukraine 13 armoured vehicles to evacuate civilians from besieged areas or transport key workers to rebuild vital infrastructure. The Foreign Office said the highly specialised 4x4s were fitted with armour and reinforced glass. President Biden has said that voters in the US will have to defend women's fundamental right to terminate a pregnancy if the Supreme Court overturns a ruling that made abortion legal across the country nearly 50 years ago. The comment came after a leaked court document said each state should be allowed to decide if it wanted to restrict terminations. Mr. Biden said if such a ruling came, it would be up to voters to elect more pro-choice representatives. Professor Scott Lucas from the University of Birmingham says Conservative justices are pushing their agenda.
They're doing it not really on the basis of legal argument. They're doing it really as a political argument, which is let's hand this over to the state legislatures because they know that in almost half of the U.S. states, which have Republican-controlled legislatures, they have either passed or are on the verge of passing abortion bans or abortion restrictions. Up to 18 states. The day that Roe versus Wade is overturned, the ban on abortion comes into effect immediately.
The energy company BP says its underlying profit in the first 3 months of this year was about £5 billion, more than twice the sum it reported a year ago. But the firm also made a loss of more than £20 billion because it's written off its stake in a Russian oil company. There have been calls for a windfall tax on energy companies' profits, but the economist Nick Butler says that would reduce BP's investment in Britain's energy security.
What they're doing in the North Sea, for instance, is developing some fields which are now look more economic because the prices are higher. They're not huge, but they will be big enough to offset some of the oil and gas that we're not going to import from Russia. That's one choice. Then they're investing in renewables, wind, hydrogen, all sorts of things in the UK and elsewhere.
A man has been found guilty of threatening the Labour MP Peter Kyle last October by holding up a makeshift gallows with a noose outside Parliament and telling him, "This is what we do to traitors." Lance O'Connor, who's 57, has been handed a conditional discharge and ordered to pay £660. BBC News, it's 3 minutes past 4.
Thank you, Justine. Sport now, here's Jonathan McKee.
Thank you, Steve. And a big night of football ahead. Jurgen Klopp says he won't take Liverpool's appearance in the Champions League semi-final for granted. They take a 2-0 lead into their second leg against Villarreal. It's also worth mentioning the rain in Spain at the moment is torrential. Worth checking out on social media if you can. Huge night too in the Championship this evening as it's second versus third. Bournemouth take on Nottingham Forest. A win for Bournemouth will see them promoted to the Premier League. Anything less and it will go to the final game of the season on Saturday. Ben Stokes hopes the ups and downs of his England career will help make him a success of the Test captaincy. Stokes was announced as Joe Root's successor last week and will begin his reign against New Zealand at Lord's next month. The Durham all-rounder says all his past experiences are positive in the new role. And Reach for the Moon, owned by the Queen, is to miss next month's derby at Epsom, which is part of Her Majesty's Platinum Jubilee on the 4th of June.
Thank you. Hello, you're on The Big Show.
Listen live on the BBC Sounds app.